What's up, everybody? Welcome to our new series, Picks for Nationals, where we want to give you advice about picking your deck for Nationals. Today I'm going to start with the Greninja deck because for me it's one of the strongest deck to pick for Nationals. Please make sure that this will be XY1 to Breakpoint, the format, so Fates Collide is not legal at this moment. We will come to that later when it's legal. But for now, we'll focus on the XY1 to Breakpoint format. And I'll start with Greninja. And as you might have already noticed, there are only 58 cards in a deck. That's because I want you to show different ways how to build the deck, depending on which matchups you think you'll face throughout the tournament, throughout your nationals. And I'll start with the mirror match. If you expect many mirror matches, which cards should you add or should you remove from the deck? First of all, how does the mirror match work? Most of the time, it works that way that one of you two, it's either you or your opponent, will deck out the other one, and then the game will be decided during time. So what do we do to prevent or to force to prevent decking out ourselves or to force our opponent to deck out? So good mirror decks are Shauna, because you can fill up your hand and suddenly you play Shauna and you get a bunch of cards back in your deck. Of course, Muscle Band, because most of the time there will be a rough season play, and if you have Muscle Band, you'll do more damage. Next thing is Hex Maniac. Both of the players will attack with Shadow Stitching as often as they can. But if you use Hex Maniac on the same turn, you can actually use... Whoops, that's the wrong Greninja. You can actually use Moonlight Slash and do also more damage. Imagine if you have a Muscle Band attached, you do 100 damage with Moonlight Slash, and they can't use abilities thanks to your Hex Maniac. And if they don't play any mirror attacks, they just Shadow Stitch all the way, and then effectively they do 10 damage because you heal 30 with Rough Seas. So 10 and 70 damage, that's a huge difference. And with that way, if your opponent doesn't play any mirror attacks, you actually could win also by taking all the prize cards. The next really cool tech card is Delinquent, because you can really hit your opponent off guard if they don't expect it, and you just discard the Rough Seas, which will most of the time be in play, because you want to play it if you play many mirror attacks. You just discard the Rough Seas, and they have to discard many resources, and sometimes they only have 3 or lower or fewer cards in their hand, and then you can also start using Moonlight Slash, and because they won't have many energies unless they top deck, but it's very unlikely. It's unlikely because you don't want to put down Octillery in the mirror match, because it could be Lysandered up easy, because sometimes the Greninja deck plays a Lysander, and then you can Shadow Stitch and so on. So Delinquent is really cool to catch your opponent off guard. Also, that's a really cool combo with Rough Seas. If you're behind of the damage, the healing change, let's call it like this, you can actually heal yourself with Rough Seas, play Delinquent, play your own Rough Seas again, and heal 30 again. So you could actually effectively heal 60 damage once in a turn with Delinquent. And the last tech card is a Pokemon. It's Durant. For 1 energy, your opponent has to discard random, or you can discard your cards from your opponent's hand until they have only 4 cards left in the deck. So if they fill up their hand size with drawing and just attacking, and they prepare for a Shauna play, you can catch them off guard again. With Durant, you just bench it, energy, free retreat with the Greninja, and then they have to discard many cards, and that's probably you probably do it when they have 4 or 5 or 3 cards left in the deck. Then it's the best play to do it. Yeah, but for now, I decided to play it like this. If I expect many mirror matches, I would play the list like this. I would cut a Rough Seas because I expect the other player to also run a few mirror tags, because it's silly not to run them, because I think Greninja will be very big. So I'll cut the Rough Seas and I'll add another Muscle Band, because it's really good if they use Startling Megaphone on the first one and they don't expect the second one, and then you come with the second one, it basically stays on the field for the rest of the game. So I'll add the Rough Seas, and I'll also add the Delinquent, because the Delinquent is also really useful in other situations, and other matchups, because as I already said, it has the ability to catch your opponent off guard so badly that it has the potential to give you such a huge advantage that it's ridiculous. It's really good. So we have 1 card left, and with 1 card left, I would actually just go with Consistency, because we don't play an Octillery, and so I think Consistency is the right choice here. And I personally would play an Evo Soda, because actually if you draw it if you draw it after your first turn, so if you don't draw it in the first turn, it's actually a 5th dive ball, because you can just use it to search out a Frogadier or a Greninja Break. So it's really good, and I think it's very underrated. Yeah, that's how I would play the deck if I expect many mirror matches. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. This and this, yes. So next deck, what do we do if we expect many Mega Rayquaza decks? There is one tag card which comes in mind, of course, which is Diden. Diden is really good because Mega Rayquaza, of course, has a lightning weakness, and if you attach an energy and a muscle band to Diden, and you were able to put 60 damage counters on the Mega Rayquaza with Giant Water Shuriken, then you can actually one-hit knock out the Mega Rayquaza. And then it's hard for them to get another one going, because most of the time you'll stall with Jirachi 2 to discard DCs, and then so they will struggle a lot if you play Diden 2. So that's why I would really play this card. It's also good against Yveltal if the Yveltal player wants to go approaches the matchup with Yveltal EX. You can just, because most of the time, if they do, they will have many energies on them, and then takes an easy knockout. It's also very good. And yeah, and there's one space left again, because there aren't really another useful tech cards for this matchup. It's just an unfavorable matchups, but with the Den it gets a little bit better. So I would focus on Consistency here again, and again I would take the Evo Soda, or you could take another Shauna, because Shauna is just good for Consistency. And the thing is that Mega Rayquaza is really fast, and you're not as fast as they are. And with another Shauna, it's more likely that you get your frogs going better. So you could do that, but actually in that matchup, it's really really important to hit um, the giant water shurikens or even the tiny water shurikens with the stage 2 Greninja, if they don't chain hex for once. So if they don't play Hex Maniac for one turn, you just have to go wild with the shurikens. So that we and it's very easy to do that if you have energy retrieval, which I also think is a very underrated card, because with if you have energy retrieval in the deck, you can actually skylar for energy cards in your discard pile. Because if you skylar for Fisherman, you can Fisherman the fastest turn you can Fisherman is in the following turn. But since energy retrieval is just an item card, you can just skylar for the energies in your discard, and I think that's very important if you want the water shurikens to escalate. So yeah, that's how I would run the deck if I expect many Mega Rays, and if I would play it. I'm not so sure if I would play the deck if I expect many Mega Ray decks. But yeah, that's for the Mega Ray measure. So also, I don't think that Toad will see much play, and if that's the case, you could actually go another route to play the deck, because you can actually play more item cards. For example, Rare Candy, which I think is also very good in case of consistency, because I often had the case that you have your Frogadier active, and then you just water duplicates for three other Frogadiers, and then the Frogadier in the first in the active spot gets knocked out, and then you're there with three Frogadiers, and then you evolve to a Greninja, and then the Greninja gets knocked out, and then you sit there with two Frogadiers or Greninjas, and it's hard to come back at this moment. So I really like the option to turn a Froakie into a Greninja, because it's also very unexpected, and I really liked it. But I would only play it if I don't expect many Toad decks, because obviously against Toad it's a dead card, and yeah. So if you don't expect many Toad decks, I would really recommend to you to play Rare Candy, because it's, in my opinion, it's just so good. It's such a versatile card actually, because yeah, just it has the surprising effect with it, and yeah. Also, with the Rare Candy, you don't need the second volley, in my opinion. Um, and what I also want to say, if I play Rare Candy, it's obvious that I have to have Rare Candy and the Greninja in my hand. How do we do that? We can play Avasoda that way, but we'll actually cut one level ball and add two Ultra Balls. And with that, we can make sure that we have the Greninja and the Ultra Ball, or the Ultra Ball and the Rare Candy in the hand at the same time. And so we can use the Rare Candy effectively. So that's what I would do if I don't expect many Toad decks. So let's go to our skeleton build again. Yeah, that's right. Then what do we do if we expect many Trevenant decks? Trevenant, obviously, if they go first, we have a really hard time. But if we go first, we can set up properly. And what's really important in this matchup is Rough Seas, because they most of the time they play 4 Dimension Valley as a 4-off, and you need Rough Seas to heal their damage spreading. Especially, you need to hit them at the right times, because you have 60 or 70 HP Froakies or Frogadiers in play. So you need to hit the rough seas very early and at the right time. So it's very important to up the rough seas count. Actually, you could go with four rough seas, but I think that's overkill in the other matchups because yeah, it's just I don't feel comfortable with four rough seas because I feel like I would have to cut too much consistency and would lose more games in the other matchups than I would win with four rough seas in the Trevenant matchup. Also, of course, we can play item cards. That's why, but we need our energy. That's why we don't run energy retrieval or stuff like that. We just up the Fisherman to two because Fisherman is just such a good card in the deck. You can Water Shuriken, yeah, Water Shuriken as often as you want. Basically, with two Fishermen, if you don't have both of them priced. Also, if you play against Trevenant and your single Fisherman is priced, you could scoop already actually. Also, we need we don't need Jirachi in this matchup. So if you really expect many Trevenant decks, just I feel really safe with cutting a Jirachi because I think the most popular Trevenant build in standard nowadays doesn't play any mystery energies at all. So, but you need the Jirachi for the other matchups. So Jirachi is always good to have, but if you expect many Trevenant decks, one is enough. And also we want to up our consistency supporter wise because of Trevenant's item block. So I would just add another Shauna to make sure that we draw in the first turns, that we draw well in the first turns. And yeah, that's the 60 cards I would do with if I expect many Trevenant matchups. So let's go back. Yeah. So last but not least, what do we do if we expect many Night March decks? Well, the Greninja Night March matchup is actually really cool, and I think the Greninja player has the edge here because it's the Greninja player who basically tells how the match will go. If the Greninja player draws really well, I think there's little chance for the Night March player to hold on because the Night March player only can react basically. If they can if you discard their energy with Jirachi, they can Lysander a Greninja on the bench, but if they do so, you have your abilities. If they play Hex Maniac, your Jirachi stays in play and you can retreat and attack with Greninja again. So the only thing I think could really hurt Greninja is that drawing in that matchup. And that's why you have to build your Greninja deck as consistent as possible. That's what I think. Because I played Greninja actually at the regionals and lost to Night March because they both he played Judge first turn both times, and I drew literally nothing, and that's how he just steamrolled me because he drew like 5 prizes every single game, and then I had my Greninja, my first Greninja. So I would really try to focus on consistency in that matchup. And therefore, I will play another Shauna too. I'm a huge fan of Shauna because it's just good to have a good turn in Greninja. You don't need much, so 5 cards is the optimum. So I would definitely play a second Shauna here, and also I would go with the Evo Soda again, because you have to get your Greninjas going to use their abilities when they don't spam hacks and stuff like that. So it's Evo Soda is a really cool card. Yeah, that's for the matchups. I didn't include Yveltal, Gallade, Zoroark in here, because I think it's a very good matchup anyways, and you don't have to tech against it. But yeah, against Yveltal, Zoroark, Gallade, you just spam Greninja, and their only attacker basically is Gallade, and you can annoy Gallade with Jirachi too, because if they run, it's so easy to outplay Zoroark with Greninja. So I don't think it's a real threat for this deck. And yeah, that's for it. I hope you enjoy these videos. There will be more soon, not only from me, also from Luca. He will. The second video will be from him, and he'll discuss the Night March deck. And I hope you enjoy, and see you guys next time.